China's Sinovac is not yet a done deal. Travel restrictions on countries hit by the new COVID-19 variant have been extended. A local court has ordered the arrest of cops who killed 4 soldiers in Jolo last June. And 7 people were killed while hundreds of others were injured after a powerful earthquake hit Indonesia. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The DOH warns close contacts of the first case of the new COVID-19 variant in the Philippines of possible penalties or jail time if they continue to elude contact tracing authorities. Meanwhile, another doctor is allaying fears of the more infectious variant, saying community transmission has not been reported. Greg Gregorio with the full story.
The DOH is still tracing 13 of the 159 total co-passengers of the 29-year-old Filipino from Dubai who tested positive for the new COVID-19 variant. While the patient is still in an isolation facility in Quezon City and in a stable condition, health authorities were able to contact 146 or 92% of the passengers of Emirates flight EK332. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said these uncooperative close contacts may face sanctions for violation of RA 11332 or the mandatory reporting of notifiable diseases and other health events. Penalties include a 20,000 to 50,000 peso fine, imprisonment of 1 to 6 months, or both, depending on court discretion. Suspension and revocation of license is also possible if the violator is a medical professional, and the same gravity to the civil service eligibility if the violator is a public servant.
Kami public health emergency, you need to cooperate with government, whether it be for quarantine, for isolation, for contact tracing, for testing.
Swab test results for the retest on his girlfriend and parents are still pending. Advisor to the National Task Force on COVID-19, Ted Herbosa, meanwhile, allayed fears of community transmission in the country. In an interview with one PHS sa Totoo Lang, Herbosa said it's most likely that a patient contracted the virus abroad.
Nagstay siya ng 14-day quarantine pag-arrive niya. So nagkataon lang, nag-positive siya, and nung sinubmit yung tests niya, yung samples niya sa UP Philippine Genome Center, na-detect yung variant. So most likely nakuha niya yon doon sa kanyang business deals.
In a separate case, the 10 close contacts in Cagayan of a Pinay domestic helper who tested positive for the new variant in Hong Kong all came out negative, while all 17 of her close contacts in Manila initially tested positive for COVID-19. But based on the retest conducted, due to their viral load, only 6 tested positive with the virus. Their specimens were not subjected to gene sequencing due to low viral load.
Naggamit kami ng ibang kit, testing kit, no? May isang testing kit na ginamit nung una, gumamit ng ibang testing kit itong PGC just to validate further. And they found that out of the 17, 6 na lang yung nag-positive dito sa another kit. So that gave us another question. So ngayon pinag-aaralan pa uli itong mga specimens po na ito.
Authorities have decided to subject to gene sequencing all incoming travelers who will test positive of COVID-19, regardless of their country of origin. Vergeres said the Philippine Genome Center will be able to test up to 700 samples at a time. This is part of the intensified biosurveillance in the country. Meanwhile, Vergeres said there are no talks yet of a deployment ban to countries with reports of the new variant. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
And senators continue to press officials that are in charge of vaccine procurement. The lawmakers said the inquiry is not an avenue for anyone's political agenda. To give us more details, Mean Los Baños joins us live from Mandaluyong City. Hi, Mean. What are we getting so far from this long vaccine hearing?
Yes, Sean, senators questioned vaccine czar Carlito Galvez for his preference for Sinovac over other vaccines, which have higher efficacy rate and even cheaper. And in his defense, Secretary Galvez said that talks with the Chinese company is not yet a done deal. Senate President Tito Soto asked medical experts regarding the 50.4% reported efficacy rate of Sinovac. Dr. Lulu Bravo, a member of the Ad Hoc Committee on Vaccination, said that this rate is acceptable based on the standards set by the World Health Organization. Bravo said that partial protection is better than no protection at all, especially during a pandemic. Senator Nancy Binay quizzed Galvez on the national government's preference for Sinovac when UK's AstraZeneca and other jabs appear to be cheaper and more effective. According to the research conducted by the Office of Senator Angara, shots from British-Swedish AstraZeneca only cost $5 per dose or almost 500 pesos for the needed 2 doses. Galvez assured senators that the government has not yet spent a centavo to procure Sinovac's shots and that the firm has only committed to deliver the vaccines. Binay asked if the government can still back out of the deal. Testing czar Vince Tizan said it is possible if the vaccine panel rejects the vaccines. Meanwhile, Senator Cynthia Villar expressed her disapproval over the government's policy that private companies should donate 50% of their procured vaccines to the government, while the remaining 50% will be allowed to be used by the private sector, but still following the DOH priority list. Here's what they have to say on the matter.
50% will be given to our employees, following the priority sector, again, the frontliners. Again, it was said to us by AstraZeneca under the privileged access that our families cannot be part of it. I'd like to make that clear. And that was made clear during all the meetings with the private sector companies. Yung mga may-ari hindi pwede, yung mga executives namin hindi pwede. Yung pwede lang dito yung mga frontliners, merchandisers, security guards, lahat yan.
Kumpanya, bumili siya ng doses at hindi siya will not be allowed to use it to the employees of the company. Ba't pa siya bibili? Hindi mo naman pwede sabihin na tindera mo lang ang bibigyan mo, hindi mo bibigyan yung mga manager mo. Without the managers, who will manage the tindera? And who will manage the accounting? Who will manage the other work of the company? This is impractical.
Sean, Senator Lacson also denied that the Chamber's inquiry into the vaccination program is tainted with politics. This after Secretary Galvez supposedly accused the senators of demonizing some vaccine manufacturers. They said, or Senator Ping Lacson said, that they're only after transparency and accountability of using the public funds. Sean?
Thanks for that update, Mean Los Baños, joining us live from Mandaluyong. San Lazaro Hospital's infectious disease department head is calling on the public to trust the regulatory process on the issue of vaccines. In an interview with One News, Dr. Jean Solante admitted that vaccine hesitancy is very much rampant at hospitals and even on social media. Solante says the Dengvaxia scandal in 2017 played a huge role in public distrust, even if shots were thoroughly reviewed. As for the detection of the new COVID-19 variant in the country this week, the infectious disease expert says that there is still no need to revert to stricter community quarantine classifications, at least for now.
Our coverage is really very low, and I think it has been affected because of Dengvaxia, and it's time that we need to really enhance the vaccine acceptance.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. COVID-19 cases in the country climbed to over 496,000. This is after the health department reported over 2,000 new infections on Friday. Active cases are now at 27,000. Bulacan has the most number of new cases with 98, followed by Davao City and Pangasinan. Around 130 new COVID-related deaths were also recorded today, while total recoveries now stand at more than 459,700, with over 500 new recoveries logged in the past 24 hours. And government has extended inbound travel restrictions on 32 countries over the new COVID-19 variant. Malacanang says the ban, which includes the UK, the US, and China, will now be in effect until January 31. This comes a couple of days after the DOH detected the first case of the new variant in a traveler who arrived from the UAE. PhilHealth's debt to the Philippine Red Cross is now down to 550 million pesos after the state insurer paid off 160 million pesos of the debt. PRC Chairman and Senator Richard Gordon told the chiefs that despite this, their testing capacity is still very much underutilized. We're taking a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here on One News. You are still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Traffic along EDSA has been light to moderate since the start of the year. Gerard de la Peña joins us live from EDSA Reliance to tell us whether or not this is because of the newly opened Skyway Stage 3. Hi, Gerard. So, what is it really?
Well, Sean, the MMDA said that it's too early to tell if this improving traffic situation here in EDSA is brought about by the opening of the Skyway Stage 3 project, which is, by the way, it was formally opened this morning to motorists. This elevated toll road which connects the NLEX and the SLEX cuts the travel time to just 15 to 30 minutes. Prior to this, travel time here could stretch to as much as 2 hours or longer if you're coming from Quezon City and going to Alabang. Meanwhile, EDSA has been seeing light to moderate traffic since the Skyway Stage 3 went on a dry run last December 29. But the MMDA points out that it's premature to conclude that the Skyway contributed to the easing of traffic. Data from the agency show a reduction of 10,000 vehicles along EDSA last week compared to the Christmas rush. The MMDA is expecting a further reduction of as much as 120,000 cars daily. A possible reason for the reduced volume of vehicles is because many motorists are still not on the road. Meanwhile, traffic officials are working on building elevated busways to ensure the smooth run of buses along the EDSA carousel route. This way, private vehicles will also be able to maneuver more conveniently on the space along EDSA. Sean, the Skyway Stage 3 will remain toll-free to motorists until the end of this month. And even after that, traffic authorities are hoping that motorists will still patronize the new toll road to decongest major thoroughfares in Metro Manila, such as EDSA. Sean.
Thanks so much for that update, Gerard de la Peña of News 5, reporting to us live from EDSA Reliance. And the local court has issued the arrest warrants and hold departure orders against 9 cops that were involved in the Jolo shooting last year. This comes just days after the PNP released the 9 accused from custody after being dismissed from service. Police spokesperson Ildebrandi Usana says they are just waiting for a copy of the arrest warrants. He adds that several personnel are also keeping an eye on the dismissed cops to facilitate their arrests. 4 Army intelligence officers were on their way to a mission in Jolo when they were gunned down by the police last June. And in Indonesia, at least 7 people were killed, while hundreds were injured after a magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck Sulawesi Island. The epicenter of the quake was 6 kilometers northeast of Majene City at a depth of 10 kilometers. 4 people died and over 600 more were injured in Majene, while 3 fatalities and around 20 injured were recorded in the neighboring area of Mamuju. Thousands evacuated their homes after the quake hit at around 1 a.m., damaging at least 60 houses. Authorities also warn of strong aftershocks. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. We now throw you back to the Senate hearing on vaccines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.
Providers and the